So what I mean when I say I'm like the Charlie Sheen of politics is that for some weird reason, people like me. And it's almost like it doesn't matter what I say or do. You still have people just like me. So in other words, that's my long way of saying it doesn't matter what I say. People will still be like, oh, whatever. It's just Kyle. You know how like on Comedy Central, for whatever reason, South Park just like got a pass where like everybody was like, oh, I mean, they're South Park. They could like say whatever they want and do whatever they want. That's like me when it comes to politics. I've had people come up to me when I was at Politicon last year, and one dude was this black dude wearing a MAGA hat, and he's like, hey man, hey, psst, psst, I don't hate you. And
that shouldn't be allowed. Jimmy Carter had to sell his peanut farm, and that wasn't anywhere near as bad as this is. So I will say that so there's a president by the name of Jimmy Carter. He had a fucking peanut farm, and he had to sell his peanut farm because the Supreme Court rightly said, you know what, man, that could be an issue because you could have foreign governments funneling you money through your peanut farm, and we can't have corruption. We're supposed to be a first world country.
Of course, Jimmy Carter had to sell his peanut farm. Mm-hmm. And there weren't even accusations of wrongdoing with Jimmy Carter. It was just, oh, that could present a problem, so you gotta sell your peanut farm. But Trump can keep all of his hotels, which are all over the place, and all of his assets, and get corrupted by foreign governments. And also, by the way, he's using his hotel in Scotland where he's funneling US taxpayer money there. Yeah. Did you hear that story? Okay.
Yes, of course. So, all right, I'm done with.
So, okay, you're actually correct about one thing you said there. Hillary Clinton did indeed try to get foreign help in the election against Donald Trump with Ukraine. But I don't know why you have to be so hacky when you say Trump didn't try to do the exact same thing. That's exactly what he did.
So, show me in the transcript, where did he do that?
There's a reason why Donald Trump's only response now is, there was no quid pro quo. No quid pro quo at all. Because that's his only dodge, because he was obvious.
They're cherry picking polls, and the polls that they're cherry picking exclude her.
Yeah.
Then they also say, and this turned out to be totally debunked and not true, oh, there's an army of Russian trolls that are trying to help Tulsi Gabbard win the election.
Yeah.
And Joe, but this is the thing that they pull out for anybody who's on the left and anti-war. This is what they pulled out. I've been accused of it before. I've been accused of being a Russian puppet and a Russian asset.
Yeah.
And
Why the Democrats will not denounce Antifa, it's because if you want to see the face of the Democrat Party, I'll show it to you. They're wearing a mask.
All right, Kyle gets the last word on that. Charlie, you're not debating the Democrats. You're debating Kyle Kulinski. If you just asked me, it would have been very simple.
What do you think of Antifa?
Do I denounce Antifa? Yes. I denounce political violence. But I think it's really interesting that you started this whole rant by acting like political violence is only on the left. That's the Trump goes out there and he says, for example, like he did on the campaign trail, that we need a total and complete shutdown of Muslims coming into this country. That's not politically incorrect. That's just incorrect. You're just a dick. Because there's like 1 billion people who are Muslims. And they're not all guilty for the sins of Al-Qaeda. So, yeah, that's my take on it. I think I'm politically incorrect myself, but I think that oftentimes people on the right use it to get away with saying things that are just factually incorrect.
And also, don't lie, when he does a rally and he's high as balls on an upper, they're entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm the first one on the left to admit, his Twitter feed, I feel bad sometimes because he genuinely makes me laugh. I remember, I'll never forget the morning I woke up and I go on Twitter, which is like part of my morning routine, and the first words I see are from the President of the United States. And it says, washed up psycho Bette Midler. And I just saw that first part of the tweet and I broke down laughing. It was the funniest thing.
Elizabeth Warren knows how to get things done and has gotten them done. She has a different theory of change, but it's an incredibly effective one. So she got the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau passed when she wasn't even a senator, when the Republicans hated it and the Obama administration didn't want it either. I literally don't know how she pulled off that miracle, but that's pretty solid evidence that her strategic thinking actually does lead to wins on the board, and very large ones. So what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, my only response to that would be, it goes right back to the Joe Manchin point. You have to, in order to win these battles, we have to know who we're battling. It's obvious that we're battling the establishment Republicans because we're always battling the establishment Republicans. But the open secret in Washington, D.C. that you know very well and I know very well is that you're also going to have to fight half the Democratic Party.
100%.
You're the one who interviewed Tim Ryan, and you asked Tim Ryan, oh, if Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren is president and we try to get Medicare for all, would you be in favor of it? And he said no. And then you told everybody, and you're right, by the way, hey, Tim, you signed up for the bill. You put your name down for the bill. So we have to take on at least half the Democratic Party, and I'm a big believer in they're not going to do it unless you force them to do it, and in order to force them to do it, you need to harness the will of the people. Now, what you said about Elizabeth Warren, even if I grant you that it's true.
The last thing, at least do you acknowledge that Elizabeth Warren is a real progressive? You might have a different theory of change than she does, and you might have issues with some of her foreign policy, et cetera, but it would be wildly unfair to say that she's not a real progressive.
So yes and no. I mean, yes, she is on the issues where she is, Wall Street, trade, tax policy. And obviously, if it came to a general election, I would have zero problem voting for Elizabeth Warren and arguing for Elizabeth Warren. But she's not as progressive as Bernie Sanders. And I think there are areas where genuine progressives would say, hey man, she's totally out to lunch on this issue. She's totally out to lunch on that issue, whether it's Israel-Palestine.
But that doesn't mean she's not a progressive.
That's fair, but I would just caution, not just for you, but for everybody engaged in this stuff. I'm tired of the discussions and the debates about labels. Like, I've heard it 1,000 times. We're not Dave Rubin where we should go on camera every day and be like, I'm a classical liberal.